Have you ever caught yourself chasing praise, clutching at validation, or quietly resenting the success of others? What if the biggest obstacle standing between you and your goals isn't the world's indifference or the lack of opportunity, but something much closer, something invisible, yet always present? Your ego? Can it be that the very thing we often nurture and protect is actually the greatest enemy to our progress, relationships, and fulfillment? Why do some people remain calm and resilient in the face of setbacks, while others crumble at the first sign of failure? Could the secret lie not in what we do, but in how we see ourselves? And most importantly, are you ready to discover how mastering your ego might just be the key to unlocking your true potential? In a world that constantly urges us to stand out, to broadcast our achievements, and to build personal brands, the notion that ego might be our greatest barrier is both counterintuitive and transformative. This book dives deep into the subtle yet powerful ways ego can sabotage our ambitions, relationships, and happiness, and shows a path towards self-mastery grounded in humility, discipline, and purpose. The three stages: aspire, success, failure. The core structure is built around three universal stages of any journey: aspire, success, and failure. Each stage presents unique challenges, but at every point ego lurks, waiting to undermine our best efforts. 1. Aspire, the beginning of every journey. Aspiration is where every pursuit starts: a dream, a goal, a burning desire to become or achieve something. Here, ego shows up as impatience, entitlement, or the desire for recognition before the work is truly done. Instead of quietly honing skills and building a foundation, ego pushes us to seek shortcuts, to believe we deserve more than we've earned, or to talk about our plans more than we act on them. The antidote, the book argues, is humility. Humility doesn't mean denying ambitions or lowering standards. Instead, it's about being teachable, open to feedback, and more focused on learning than appearing impressive. The most successful people in history, scientists, athletes, entrepreneurs, often speak less about themselves and listen more to others. They work quietly, letting results speak for themselves. They recognize that mastery isn't about proving themselves to the world, but about continuous growth. 2. Success, when the spotlight finds us. Achieving success is often seen as the end of the journey, but in reality, it's just another phase where ego can wreak havoc. At this stage, ego appears as arrogance, complacency, or the belief that we're invincible and above criticism. Success can make us forget the habits that got us there: discipline, gratitude, and hard work. Instead of using success as a license to coast, the book encourages maintaining a student mindset. This means staying curious, seeking out mentors, and not letting praise cloud judgment. True leaders and creators keep their egos in check by remembering that every success is temporary and that the world is always changing. They don't become addicted to their own hype, nor do they surround themselves with yes men. Instead, they actively seek honest feedback and stay focused on the mission, not the applause. 3. Failure, when things fall apart. No journey is without setbacks. Failure, disappointment, or loss can bring the ego to its knees, or paradoxically, make it rear up in self-pity or blame. In failure, ego can cause us to deflect responsibility, lash out at others, or convince ourselves that the world is unfair. The healthiest response to failure is resilience and reflection. Rather than letting ego spin a narrative of victimhood, the book suggests owning up to mistakes, analyzing what went wrong, and using every setback as a chance to learn. Many of history's greatest achievements were born from failure, because those who succeeded didn't let their egos trap them in bitterness or denial. They were honest with themselves, adapted, and tried again. Ego's many faces. Throughout the book, ego is shown to be a shapeshifter. Sometimes it's obvious: boasting, arrogance, bravado. Other times it's subtle: envy, defensiveness, or the quiet fear of being exposed as a fraud. Ego can make us overestimate our abilities, ignore advice, or refuse to collaborate. It can push us to take credit for others' work or to cling so tightly to our identity that we resist change. But ego isn't just a personal issue. It affects teams, organizations, and even societies. In group settings, unchecked egos can lead to infighting, poor decision-making, and the collapse of trust. In creative fields, ego can make us precious about our work, afraid of criticism, and resistant to evolution. The path to mastery: humility, purpose, and discipline. So what's the way forward? The book proposes a three-part antidote. 1. Humility. Recognize that no one has ever finished learning. Approach every situation with an open mind and a willingness to be wrong. Seek out mentors and feedback, and remember that the greatest achievements are often built on the shoulders of others. 2. Purpose. Let something bigger than ego drive your actions. Whether it's a mission, a cause, or a commitment to excellence, anchoring yourself in purpose helps transcend the need for constant validation. 3. Discipline. Ego wants immediate gratification, but discipline keeps us on track for the long haul. It's about showing up, doing the work, and not being swayed by praise or criticism. Discipline means focusing on the process, not just the outcome. Practical strategies. Unlike abstract self-help, the book is filled with practical strategies for keeping ego in check. Practice silence. Resist the urge to announce every plan or achievement. Let your work speak for itself. Adopt a beginner's mindset. No matter how experienced you are, approach each new challenge as a student. Seek constructive criticism. Find people who will tell you the hard truths, not just what you want to hear. Remind yourself of your limitations. No one is immune to error. Regularly reflect on your weaknesses and blind spots. Serve others. Shift the focus from yourself to helping and uplifting those around you. Detach from outcomes. Focus on effort and improvement, not just results or recognition. Lessons from history. The book draws from a wide range of historical figures, generals, entrepreneurs, writers, and athletes, to illustrate both the dangers of unchecked ego and the power of humility. For example, it recounts how visionaries like Howard Hughes were ultimately undone by their own hubris, while figures like Eleanor Roosevelt or Bill Belichick thrived by subordinating ego to mission. It's not about suppressing all ambition or self-confidence. Rather, it's about channeling those qualities in a way that serves growth, relationships, and long-term impact. Ego may promise quick wins, but it ultimately leads to isolation, stagnation, and regret. True greatness comes from quiet confidence, relentless learning, and a commitment to something greater than the self. Why ego is the enemy? So why is ego such a formidable foe? Because it distorts reality, inflates self-importance, and blinds us to the very things that drive progress: curiosity, connection, and adaptability. Ego resists feedback, rejects accountability, and clings to comfort. It whispers that we're special, that the rules don't apply, or that we're owed success. But when we recognize ego for what it is, a barrier, not a protector, we gain the power to move beyond it. By cultivating humility, serving others, and staying focused on growth rather than glory, we can achieve more, build deeper relationships, and find true fulfillment. So after peeling back the layers, do you see ego in a new light? Could it be that the real challenge isn't the obstacles outside, but the invisible adversary within? Are you ready to silence the noisy voice of ego and let your work, your character, and your purpose do the talking? What would your life look like if you traded the pursuit of recognition for the pursuit of mastery? And as you close this book, what's the first step you'll take to make ego your ally, not your enemy? If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit subscribe and join BitBooks for more deep dives into the ideas that shape us. Until next time, what's your answer to the enemy within?